Which series do you expect to see in Game 7? Which team, excuse me, do you expect to see in Game 7 in this series?
I think the Sixers are capable of doing that on the road. They have a veteran leader in Jimmy Butler. That's right, a leader. He's actually, the stuff that wasn't working in Minnesota is working in Philadelphia right now. He's completely kind of rehabilitated his reputation. And when, my philosophy with these things is you need a 5-star player on your team to win a championship, and he needs an MVP level guy, and he needs at least one other 4-star guy. That's an all-star, 3-star being, average starter, 2 is a bench guy, and 1 is a replacement level player. You got 5 in Embiid when healthy, but he can't do that every time. Butler's a 4. Simmons can be a 4. Tobias Harris like a 3.5, let's say, something like that. They got a lot of upper-end talent, and that means they should be able to perform even on the road. The issue for me isn't that. The issue for me is Toronto's not going to brick every shot again, you don't think. They got guys who can shoot. They have Kawhi who gets them open looks because he demands, double teams and traps and stuff. Kevin Arnovitz had an excellent little piece about that on ESPN.com this morning. And they're not going to brick every shot again, which means fewer fast breaks. Ben Simmons not as effective, but it's not so much about what the Sixers can't do. It's more about what Toronto is capable of doing that I think will be the difference in Game 7.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, when I look at Philly, there's 2 games in this series. I've been incredibly impressed with their mental toughness. Game 3, I thought was maybe, considering opponent, one of the best performances that we've seen, and then, of course, what we saw last night. But the last time Philly was in Toronto, they got smashed by 36 points. Philly's road record is the worst of the top 4 seeds in the East, and their road offense is like a 20-point differential. We just saw the graphic that's up there. So as aggressive as Simmons was to start the game, he's capable of a total donut like we saw in Game 5. And Embiid, who was a monster in all facets of the game last night, guys, still is only shooting 37%. So Kawhi is the consistent one out of all of these big names. He's the guy I bet on more than any of these players. And as good as Philly looked, again, at home, I don't trust him on the road, especially in a Game 7.
I don't trust him on the road at all as well, Ryan and Max. And Ryan, you'll laugh at me like Max and Molly are going to laugh at me. Everybody knows where my interest lies. I don't have global entry, okay? I need Philadelphia to win this game. Because if not, I'm going to be...
Stephen A.
Molly, that's a real thing.
Yes, look, man,
and
I got to cover the
A's
Eastern
agenda.
Conference. Hey, Ryan, I got to cover the Eastern Conference Finals, man. I'm going to be stuck in those long lines if Toronto wins this game. So I'm praying that the Philadelphia 76ers win this game. But on a serious note, I will tell y'all this. It's an interesting dynamic. I expect the Sixers from Game 6 to show up. Whether or not that's going to be good enough, I doubt it, but I'm hopeful that the Sixers will win this game. I'm praying they'll win this game. But I'm going to tell you where things get a little bit dicey here. If Toronto doesn't win this game, I think Kawhi Leonard is definitely gone. Now, he's probably gone anyway, but I think he's definitely gone if they don't win this game, and they know that. That's number one. So it's going to be real interesting to see how his supporting cast shows up because those brothers want him to stay in Toronto. But Philly's interesting as well because Jimmy Butler's going to be a restricted free agent. Tobias Harris is going to be a free agent. The likelihood is that both are not going to be kept, even though everybody gets along to some degree. The bottom line is you got players like Tobias Harris and others looking at this situation, wondering if this is conducive or beneficial to them moving forward. Obviously, they ain't going to let go of Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, but you hear so much chitter-chatter, and you got to wonder where Philadelphia's focus is going to lie in this particular game. So I take those things into consideration, and it has me wondering which team is going to show up. You would deduce that Toronto is the more reliable one because of the steadiness of Kawhi Leonard, the fact that they're going to be on their home court, and they play considerably better at home as a series wanes compared to the Philadelphia 76ers playing on the road. But I'm still hoping and praying that Philadelphia pulls one out of their hat and shows up Sunday.
Yeah, I like the admitted bias every now and then. I think we all have to do that. Now, we all know that this sport has become probably more interesting in July than it has in the regular season, and no more so than this upcoming summer. You just said something, though, that I always kind of check myself on. Like, we keep doing this deal where it's, well, what if Kawhi gets to the Eastern Conference Finals? What if he gets to the Finals? Doesn't that prove that Toronto's a stable franchise? The answer would be yes, it proves that they're stable or more stable than he thought. But I really think most of these dudes have already made up their mind. And I don't think they care if they get to the second round or get to an NBA Finals. I think they're making moves, whether it's businesses or talking to people already or real estate moves, where I think we really overrate how much the actual team success impacts their, now I don't want to call it selfish decisions, but individual decisions.
Here's the only reason I think you're wrong. The only reason I think you're wrong is because you know by talking to people in the league that you're right in terms of what you're saying about their minds being made up. But what I was doing was echoing what folks say at this particular moment in time. If this happens, if this happens, if that happens, this is what it means. So in other words, I'm echoing the sentiments of those guys when I firmly believe he's going to L.A.
I think,
and you firmly believe. In other words, we all firmly believe their mind is made up.
Case,
but we have an obligation to sit up there and echo what they want echoed in terms of where their mindset is at this particular moment in time.
In Kawhi's case, yes, but I think it has an influence. I think, Ryan, you may be right. It may be overstated, but I think it has an influence. You think about your own life, your own job, and what developments could happen that could change your mind about things. The issue in Toronto is the supporting cast is excellent. I don't believe that's a championship team ultimately, if I had to pick.
But it probably gets better, too, when you look at some of the guys.
Maybe. If Siakam can become a 4-star player, but he's not right now. He's a 3.5. Like, Kawhi is a 5-star. He's an MVP-level player. Tell me the other all-star on the team, really. Not Kyle Lowry in the postseason, for sure. He's 3.5. Bunch of 3.5s. They're not just starters. They're better than that.
I'm loving this new rating system.
That's right.
I'm having a hard time.
But where are the four? Where is the all-star? Where's the crime partner for Kawhi? He doesn't have one, really. And when Siakam is that crime partner, you're like, ooh, how are you going to beat the Raptors? But he's not that every time, which is why Siakam is something less than an all-star. Ryan, a 4-star player.
I will say this to you, Max Kellerman. I'm definitive about certain things. I will not be subjected to cold, blizzard-type temperatures anymore in my career from this point forward.
All right.
That's definitive.
I think the Raptors are going to win by double digits.
They got
but we'll
1-star weather up there.
Yeah, I do.
Wait a minute.